Hello guys, and welcome to a thrilling Star Wars Nationals series brought to you by us here at Team Covenant. My name's Steven.
And I'm Zach.
And we have Matt on the left, John on the right, and these guys have had a wonderful day, obviously. Matt's a guy we see a lot of times in the finals. I've seen him a bunch in these kinds of videos. John's a new face for me. Tell me what you know, Zach.
I know a lot about these two players, actually. So Matt is the guy who got second in the Texas Regional that we covered on video. He's from Texas. He's from Dallas area, and see him a lot for X-Wing in the card game. John is good buddies, playtest partner with a guy named Matt Coles. I don't know if you've heard of him. He won last year's North American Championship, and John was actually John knocked Matt Coles out of the tournament 2 rounds ago.
Wow.
So Matt was hoping to repeat defend his title, but John was able to knock him out, and here he sits. So coming to this game, Matt on the left here is undefeated. So it's the new double elimination system. He's going to have to lose twice to lose the national championship, whereas John is going to have to win 2 games in a row to seal his when he fought his way back up from the losers bracket.
Not easy. So Matt's got to not get a little lazy here. You got to stay on point with these double elimination games. A lot of times coming into that final spot, it's like, well, I've got one that I can kind of putt around, but you don't want to do that. You just want to win it and get it out of there.
And the way the format's set up, right? It's top 16, double elimination. He won his first 4 games and then had like a 3-hour break.
Yep.
So he's kind of been waiting, and he's starting Dark Side. Looks like Council of the Sith, Executor Arrives, and Plan of the Prophetess against the all-too-familiar along the Gamorra run. May the Force be with you, and Secret of Yavin 4. Now, the interesting part of this meta at this very moment, there's been no cards released since this tournament, is, I guess there's a pack that wasn't legal. The last pack came out at GenCon. But it's heavily dominated by the light side.
Yeah.
It's called Force Lock. That's what a lot of people call it, because they have Gamorra Run to help them steal the Force, let you reveal the top card of your deck, counts the Force icons of that towards your total. And also, may the Force be with you. When you commit a guy, you remove all the focus from him.
Focus, yeah.
So it has a way of keeping the Force. It uses nudges to get the dial even lower, and it can also deal out a lot of damage because of the hired hands and such. So it's a very tough deck to beat, and it's very consistent.
Well, Matt's coming in here with what looks to me like some pretty standard Sith tricks, dropping Sith Library and Vader on the first turn. This is something I've seen since the game first launched. So I'm kind of curious if he has more tricks to get him through to these final rounds, or if he's just playing fundamentals here.
Yeah, the interesting part is, when the game first came out, this move was amazing. And then a unit came out called the Sleuth Scout, which made that move absolutely horrible and terrifying. But obviously you can see it does not look like John is playing Sleuth Scouts unless he's got a surprise objective set in there. And playing Vader turn 1 is really good against this deck in particular, because they almost cannot win with Gamorra Run.
Yeah,
win the Force
true.
on that first struggle.
Aside from Yoda, you know.
All right, Yoda, hired hands, and a nudge. Dial's going to tick down 1. This is just exactly what you want to see. Hired hands are so brutal. 3 health. Unit, objective, and a tactics, so you can attack with that. If he doesn't block, he gets tactics down. If he does, he gets tactics down. You don't really want to block, because if you strike twice because you're committed, Yoda can just swing, lock Vader down for another turn. But a Vader opening against Gamorra Run is really strong, because it's really hard to a lot of times I can get the balance from the get-go.
Yep.
You play 2 or 3 little guys, you have 2 or 3 Force icons out, they flip a 3, and the balance starts with the light side, so you can't even take it.
Yeah, and that's a problem. That's a huge problem. And it's good to see the Force struggle actually being a very significant part of the game right now. Something that I've kind of been waiting for personally for a while. It's a really cool mechanic, really good framework thing. And now it actually does matter pretty significantly.
All right, looks like Vader's not going to block. I think that's the right call there.
It's going to get double focused anyway, you know?
He's elite, though.
He is elite.
If he double focused, Yoda would be putting the 3rd focus there.
Yeah, and that would be a problem. Although he'd ace that hired hands. And John going to hope on Gamorra Run here to make things happen. Force choke.
Yeah, so he's sending the nudge for unopposed, and he's going to get force choke. Dial's going to click back up. Again, though, this is a very strong turn for the light side. Got damage in, got resources out.
Oh, twist.
Twist, so he has none, but he's going to commit Yoda to unfocus and the hired hands. He'll win the Force, refresh his resource, so next turn he's got a strong turn. And now he's got Yoda on the Force, plus Gamorra Run, which is going to be hard to take.
Yeah, this is ideal, but very iconic too. We have Darth Vader against Yoda. Yoda kind of sitting back, taking the Force, And Vader going to have to go on the offensive, maybe throw a lightsaber on and go deal with things.
That would definitely be a good thing. But again, the nice part here is, even if he does go offensive, John can block with hired hands. And if he can win the edge battle, just lock Vader down. Doesn't even have to block with Yoda.
How many cards in hand? 2? 1?
Well, he got 1 from Gamora Run. He got that twist that we know about. 1, 2, 3, 4. He should have 3 in hand.
Matt going up, seeing a Vader, not really what you want to see at all.
He did see a Force Choke, which is going to off Yoda. That is exactly what you want to see.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
That is exactly
solves
what you
that
want.
problem. And, man, the Vader Force Choke thing, still solving problems every day of the week.
Yep. And we got a Protector. This is going very well for Matt here.
Good back and forth going here. Lightside really took some momentum there on their turn, and now Matt has stolen it back in true Darkside fashion.
So that really is the perfect Darkside turn, by the way. Force Choke to get rid of Vader, or to get rid of Yoda, and then 2 2s that have 2 unit damage, and one of them being a Protector is on the money.
Pretty wicked. And gonna take the Force, man. And just get rid of that hired hands. Just wipe that light side board. Good bit of control coming back to the dark side here.
Yep, and he's gonna draw from Council. Council's an objective we saw kind of go out of the meta once Freeholders came out, before it was restricted, and then immediately back into the meta once it was restricted.
Yep.
When you didn't want more cards in your hand on your opponent's turn, it was tough to commit the space for it. All right, see what he gets.
John going to draw back up, see if he can launch a similar kind of offensive.
Yeah, and those new 2/2 resources that remove a focus when you win the Force Struggle are so important. In the 6 packs ago, right? Like if this had happened, this is just horrible for the light side. But the ability to get those 2 resources out and immediately have access to them in the next round
come back through, yeah,
means that you start getting more things on the board. So those really bad turns become less of a swing and more of just an assertion of dominance. So John is certainly not out of this game. Dials at 2.
He's going to have a tough time climbing this Force Mountain with both Vader and hand. I mean, he can get some Tactics Icons on the board and kind of force it to go his way.
And this really is also a show of why May the Force Be With You is so important for the Jedi. In a pre-May the Force Be With You era, Jedi at this moment are just in trouble.
They're done.
Yeah, it's like you have to be able to play guys, attack, tactics down Vader, and commit to grab the Force back, or the game just gets out of control on the next turn.
All right, and John counting.
Yeah, I think he's trying to figure out exactly what objective sets are in Matt's deck. He can obviously see the 3 objectives on the board, neither of which are Vader or Palpatine, which have cards on the board. He also sees the Stormtrooper from Imperial Mahdi. So he has a good bit of knowledge here. 7
You
or 8
act like
of the
you played
objectives.
this game, man.
What'd you say?
So you act like you played this game.
I've played a couple times.
That's impressive. No other game is that even a thing.
Yeah, when you can know 80 to 90% of your opponent's deck on turn 2, if you're watching. A lot of people don't pay too much attention to that, but it is worth looking at.
I got a 4-coster coming in, the old Hyperspace Bros, Hyperspace Marauder, yeah?
Yep. And another nudge. That was going to go down to 1. Really not doing too much. You got Vader around, so you got to assume that nudge is going to go off the board. But that Marauder could bring nudges back with the Fury, by the way. That's the funniest thing.
And there you go.
That's second funniest. Funniest thing is C-3PO.
Yeah, C-3PO recycling is both thematic and hilarious.
Yeah, and so this is a weird, pressure point in the game right now where you want to block, but it's a weird spot.
Not much on the line there, is there?
There's not too much on the line, and if you're not careful, a Gamorrean plus the Marauder could get him easily above, and a Seeds can lock down Vader. Seeds is so good, by the way.
And there it goes.
Seeds of Decay put a focus on an unfocused committed unit, and that alone, that one move right there is massive.
Impressive swing. Tactically sound. Deck is ready. These decks are obviously deserve to be here.
Yeah.
They are something special.
Going to the Force phase. Looks like Matt is 2 committed. John's going to commit the Marauder and gain the 1 from the whatever that is that give 3 Force icons. I don't know what the name is. Refreshes, takes balance, going to slow the game down. He's going to get a 1 cost back. Hired hands for an amazing blocker.
Thanks, Marauder.
Yeah. And again, you're in this this whole deck puts you in a weird spot.
Look at this turn. Like, this is the best I've seen so far from Star Wars.
Yeah,
things are really evening out here. We have pace, we have tempo, we've got a lot of considerations on the board. Nothing is certain.
Yeah, and the bind that Darkside ultimately gets in, though, is it really forces them to not be able to attack in a weird way where, yeah, you could attack with something, and then the hired hands blocks and wins an edge battle and attack. Like, it can just go really bad. It can
just go bad. There's just too much risk involved in an attack right now. Is that another Force Choke? Or is that a Dark Precog?
That was a Dark Precog, and we also saw a Deadly Sight, which could be important. The Marauder's only got 2 Force Icons because of Plan of the Prophetess right now. So he can easily Deadly Sight the Marauder just off of the board, which is a good thing to do.
Yeah, I think that's what you want.
We'll see where he ends up spending his resources. Only has 5 right now. Gonna go ahead and Dark Precog, trigger Vader on the nudge.
Classic.
I like it.
Love Dark Precog with Vader out. Just perfect. Talking about a great trade.
Mahdi and Saris coming into the hand there. I imagine he's not disappointed to see Mahdi. He's got Protect out. We haven't seen Luke yet, so Mahdi's a fairly safe investment against a Jedi deck. He's always a good investment.
Always a good investment. Now we're going to discard 1 card here. Not having to think about it.
I'll tell you another just crazy thing to be considering here is how long you want to hold on to that Vader. Things can go bad, Vader can die, and then you have another one to play, which is really nice.
Yeah.
You also have a solid edge card. But how long do you let that slot in your hand be committed to a card you really can't put on the board?
Yeah. And it's Star Wars, if any game, makes those kinds of decisions very difficult. Because it's a free card. Card economy is way different in this game. You're drawing up any time. So holding the card is really, really hard to justify most of the time if it's not useful right now. Of course, it does make his attack way more secure, right?
All right, he's going to discard Saris because we all know he's not playing Saris.
Is that kind of how Saris works?
Yeah, I mean, you don't play her unless you just have to. She's okay, but what you get for playing her, not quite worth it at this point in the game. She has 3 costs. We'd be having a different conversation.
We'd be having a different conversation. Same conversation, different conclusion.
All right.
Dropping Mahdi?
Yeah. And now he's going to have a tough decision. I want to say he leaves the... he plays the ISP Liaison and leaves the resources for Deadly Sight going into his opponent's turn.
That seems right so far. Look at this. Look at the aesthetic layout of his board there. Vader in the middle and a double stack on each side. It's quite nice, Matt.
You also get the sense, by the way they're playing,
Nudge and Luke.
And we also know that John has the card to give a unit 3 Force Icons. Saw at the interrupt, which will happen post-commitment here.
All right, so Mahdi goes on.
I think he can keep it here with a plus. No, I think he's still going to lose it unless he has a second one. Because the Marauder should be -1. Yeah, so he's just planning to get out of hand.
All right, hired hands goes. So has successfully taken the Force back. That's a big shift for me, seeing Matt pull that off.
Yeah, and a lot of players there may have wanted a Deadly Sight earlier. But I think this is correct. Deadly Sight on the opponent's turn. Going to get to trigger Vader again because he already triggered Vader on his turn. He's going to kill the Marauder, do a damage to the Protector, and this is not looking terrible for Matt.
Oh, man. You have to think about the game so differently on the dark side. You're slow building. You're trying to just build to this fevered pitch where you just can't be overtaken, and it's not easy. I mean, even a board like this, you can sneak in all sorts of objective damage just through an edge battle. So
yeah, and that's really the tough job for the dark side because light side never really has to have board control.
Right.
They only have to win edge battles to do the damage.
They just got to poke in there.
Yeah, so early game, you're trying to get enough damage on the board where pokes will do it.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, and he's done that pretty successfully. He's got 3 on one and 2 on another. So those are all within reach, so to speak. But we'll see what happens. Having a protector out's nice. You know, Vader's already triggered, so you're not going to see a force choke with a trigger. So we'll see what happens. I don't see any events in Matt's hand, so this could be a good turn for John if he has the goods, so to speak. All right, another resource.
Ewoks.
Really interesting resource because you can remove a shield from a unit to unfocus it or an Ewok. And unfocusing it for the surprise resource can really be massive, especially with cards like Leia's Command in that same objective set. They don't think you can play it, and then they're like, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He can play it, turns out.
Shield's gone.
Yoda! You seek Yoda, a staple. I think that's going to click the dial up to 4. Most importantly, it's going to get us Yoda.
There he is. Glad to see the old man getting some play.
He certainly has gotten play since that objective set has come out. It is the objective set Jedi needed. I will say that. Certainly. I don't know if Along the War Run was the objective set that anyone else needed. But the Yoda objective set was what Jedi needed. Across the board. Alright, here we go. And Leia. Can I tell you something?
Yep.
I love Leia.
In what kind of way?
Every way. Jedi Leia kind of way. Rebel Leia kind of way. Movie Leia kind of way.
Alone in your room kind of way?
And I'll tell you, I've really developed an appreciation. No, I'm just going to skip over that. I've developed an appreciation for Jedi Leia's objective and Jedi Leia because what the Force Lock deck wants you to do
It's not the flashiest thing.
is not attack.
Yeah.
And what Leia forces you to do
Look
is
at
attack.
that Luke again, by the way.
Yeah, that's going to be good news, Bears. So he spent the resource on Mahdi, so he's only going to be at 6 here. But his committed stuff is -1. This would put him at 7 right now. So he's already won the Force. Yep.
And gets that resource back. That's going to be a big deal, man.
Very strong play.
Hey, what were you saying about the objective set? The Leia
Yeah.
objective
So Leia's objective set, if you don't attack, you can do a damage to an objective, and Leia can just do 2 damage or do damage to an unfocused unit. So she and her objective put you in this weird situation where you feel obligated to attack, and that really lets the Jedi penalize you by, doing damage or killing a unit. It's like I can either kill a unit if you don't attack, or if you do attack, I can kill a unit and focus a unit.
Yeah.
It's like, which one do you want?
Yeah.
And it's really a weird kind of control. So I'm really glad to see that John. A lot of these decks don't have that objective set in the deck, but I was glad to see him playing it at Nationals.
John made the call. And I assume John and Matt were both running the same decks?
I'm pretty sure it was the exact same decks. They play test together pretty hard.
When there's only one right deck, when you
play
think
it.
you found it, everybody's on that train.
I mean, to be frank about the light side, it's hard not to find at least very close to the right deck. Like, you could have run any... There's like 6 or 7 objectives that you pick, and the other 3 you can put whatever you want in.
Yeah.
And you'll probably do okay. Like, win most of your games.
Well, then I'm in. So Matt's got to be thinking to himself that he's got a high chance of losing this game, but then he'll get to flip it around and have the better odds on the light side if he does.
If he can win here, he just seals up the championship.
In very classic ways. A lot of style.
Yeah, but
if
if not, he'll at least get to go back to his hopefully stronger side and have a solid chance at winning. So losing 2, especially in this environment, when it's kind of dominated by one side, is a pretty... Like if John can pull this off, kudos will go to him for winning both games. And really the trick going to this tournament, and I think everyone knew it. Ooh, Executor, baby. Woodley Liaison out, so that's really nice. The trick in this tournament absolutely was finding a way to win with the dark side.
Yeah.
I see an aggression in hand, and let me tell you, Executor aggression is the juice.
Well, it's a good play that's set up here.
I don't think he has any resources open, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, I don't think so at all.
So
Got what, he paid 6 there?
I'm confused. He paid 2 on Mahdi, and I think he's got 2 on Executor Arrives there in the middle.
Aha!
So that's 8.
The double stack.
Yeah, he has them stacked. I was like, this is not correct.
Wait a minute.
Executor's a beast, man. He's also got a great edge hand. This is not looking bad for Matt. He's going to have a really good blocking turn. He did spend resources on Madi, though, so he's not going to be able to win the force back. Well, he might. Depends on the Gamora run card.
At a certain point, you just give that force up.
That's kind of the issue, right? And this is that scenario I was talking about. So if he doesn't attack here, he can basically do damage with Leia. With whatever's unfocused. It's just 2 damage straight out the gate. He's going to flip twist, so he's not going to keep the force.
Woo!
Which is important.
Yeah, big deal.
But still, this is a significantly better position than he was in going into any of his turns previously. Leia, Yoda on the board with a protector, with Luke in hand. This is a very just strong position to be in.
And now with Matt, with his early game work of really focusing on board control, clearing things out, now he has turns where he's playing 1 card. He doesn't need to play anything, and now he's going into 6-card defense turns.
And that's exactly what you want to do with Darkseid.
Yeah, this is kind of the pace that Darkseid, I think, really wants to play. And that's really, sometimes you see it and you don't know why things are, but it's definitely from those early control plays, and now he doesn't have to play anything. At a certain point in Star Wars, the number of units does not matter.
Yep.
It's just about those edge battles.
He's got a lot of options here. It looks like he has a Seeds and a Twist in hand as well, so that's strong. John's going to drop another resource.
Building for the late game here.
This is a big turn. We'll see what happens. And the thing is, with all these attackers and blockers, you get in this weird scenario where neither side may really want to attack.
Ultimately, Darkseid wants that, yeah?
Yes. As long as they can keep the force.
Yeah. Tick it up. We're over to John now, huh?
He is
played
thinking.
his resource, and now he's thinking it over.
Yeah. 2 for another protector. That is precisely what you want.
I think the protectors are quite good.
Turns out he's going to save a resource here, which to me immediately has flares going off in my brain about Leia's command. Not saving it. Lightsaber, baby.
I got some heavy hitters now. Backed up by Leia and Yoda, hanging out doing their thing.
And 2 protectors.
Luke's can do some work here. Devastator makes this a little hard, doesn't it?
Executor?
Yeah, Executor.
I was like, wait, where's Devastator?
Where did it go?
Yeah, it does.
Because you don't want to just have... I guess the protectors dramatically help.
Yeah, and
I'll say that.
What you don't want to do with your Executor is block and then get focused down.
Yeah.
Because he's not elite. And a buried Executor is not as useful as an
It's not as useful. And don't forget the shielding option here with that Jawa resource.
That's really kind of what I'm looking at.
Could still have the Leia's command, ultimately.
Leia's command would be a ringer. It could be brutal, especially with like that protector there with 1 health. Liaison at 1 health. It could just be a surprising...
You don't want to throw out a ringer for a ringer, though.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see what happens. This is what I'm talking about, where who's going to attack here, you know? Ultimately, Lightside...
Luke's looking like he wants to attack. Look at him. He's poised. He's got a lightsaber. He's got everything he needs. He's going to unfocus next turn.
If he attacks, though, it smells like a Vader, Executor, Stormtrooper, Protector, Liaison block.
Yeah, just to eat him up.
Or probably as the Executor Stormtrooper, honestly. Get in the house.
We've seen Executor Stormtrooper try to block Luke before, and usually it doesn't work. At least not in the movies.
It doesn't work. You're right. Spoiler.
Check out that discard pile. What's going on there? Darkseid. Beautiful card, really.
Darkseid.
Or what?
Deadly Sight?
Deadly Sight, yeah.
It's like Darkseid. What do you mean Darkseid?
Look at that, though. Deadly.
All right, if this game were only about whose playmat was cooler, who wins?
I said earlier that Old Ben was kind of boring, but I think Han's overdone. So
you don't like either of them?
I don't like either of them. I wish the giant text was less giant. I would like it if it were just a scene and then maybe a little bit of text down there with the Fantasy Flight logo, A little small text, just, hey, it's Star Wars,
I do know.
I mean, I get it that you want to advertise your game. But man, that's beautiful art. Let's see it. Ben's face is covered up too, so it looks like we've got a bearded card over there.
The whole bearded card. Classic. That's what I'm going to ask for Christmas.
That Han always looks like Grant to me, Grant Huddleston. Doesn't it? You kind of got that bewildered look.
He does kind of look like Grant. Grant's the guy that got second last year in the North American Championship at GenCon. And it kind of does look like Grant. I think you'd take that as a huge compliment.
Good.
Harrison 40.
That's what I'm here for.
Complimenting Grant?
That's the only reason.
This really is, this is the play, just so we're aware. You could make a play here and kind of seal the game up on either side. You could also not make a play for fear of making the play that ends the game for you.
It's terrifying to be in those situations in a card game, but usually playing conservative is what doesn't win you the game.
Well, he's going for the force phase. He's just going to keep the force here. I will say winning the force is insanely important in this day and age. A lot of the dark side's best cards from the last cycle, you have to have balance to play. Rage being a classic example. And this lets John kind of sit back. I mean, he's got Leia, which is nice. He's going to be able to remove that protector this turn if the protector doesn't attack. And he really doesn't need to be doing anything. He's going to keep balance. So because all three of Matt's force cards here are used, Matt can't add more icons to the force.
Correct.
So John's at 6, which is pretty strong. So I'll see what happens. But if John can keep balance, he can kind of just sit back and do damage with Leia, do damage from balance, and then when he's ready, squeak in
a few damage, yeah. Because and this is the beauty of this format, right? It's like at this point you're just trying to win the game. It doesn't matter if the dog is to 11 or if it's at 1. And that maybe has allowed some of these decks to breathe a little bit more too and to slow the pace of the game down. There's another protector. Well, that's kind of the end of those plans, isn't it?
It is. Oh.
Another liaison.
Maybe. So we got a liaison, we got 2 liaisons, and we have an aggression. So that's 4 damage that could be laid down. And a unit removed because of aggression.
I feel like Yoda's got a short life here. You getting this deck down to 0 Yodas could be significant.
So he's sacking a liaison. We're going to do damage to a protector that's going to get protected by the other protector. Check out the top card of John's deck and draw a card. And he got a Force Lightning, which doesn't do anything right now.
These are all that's a good economy there, though.
Yes.
1 action gets you all those things.
It is what you want. Here comes aggression. Curious to see what Matt sacks here. You may want to do...
Yeah.
Gets that force card back.
He's going to die anyway.
Going to get rid of one of the protectors, and now Vader's going to get a trigger.
I'm surprised
the other protector.
Why didn't he get rid of the one with the damage on it? That's what I do.
Which one? Protector?
The protector that had 1 damage on it. I guess it doesn't matter.
He did.
Right? Oh, he did?
Well, he sacked one. They both had 1 on it because he sacked the liaison to try to kill one of them, and then John protected it, so they both had 1.
I see. Yeah.
Then he played aggression, killed one, triggered aggression to kill the other, triggered Vader on Leia.
A lot of triggers here.
So on and so on and so on.
And that board just got a lot thinner.
It sure did.
Executor arrives. Sacking dudes. He's still got a liaison in training there. Ready to die. Matt's on 7 there.
Man, aggression, executor is so good. So good when it happens.
I feel like Matt's got pretty solid control of this game here. Protectors are burned through.
He's going to give Yoda +3. So he was at 8 there. Still losing out to the 9 over on Matt's side.
And that's a lot of force to get through.
All right, John, let's see if you can make some magic happen here.
He's got 2 bosses on the board, but I think Matt equals him there. Resources are really strong on John's side right now. And in these long games like this is where you really know if your deck's got it or not. Because once you've run through the cards you want to see and you want to play around, can it still compete? Can it close?
We'll see. Yeah, and I've really felt Matt's been able to stay on top throughout this game, but one thing he's not doing is any damage to objectives. So he's kind of taking the control stance where he's just going to sit back, let the game come to him.
An old school Star Wars there.
Yeah, and we'll see. There's another. That's going to be really good for John to swing this thing around.
Oh, and there's 3PO. Great
nice
combo
would he
there.
have been had last turn.
Great combo there.
Hired hands. He's bringing it.
Yep. So 3PO going to be a huge amount of control here as long as he can get back on that force.
He's definitely going to be able to win the force here. No questions. He's got 4. If he commits the Marauder, he's at 6. He's also going to get a more run. He can commit Luke if he needs to.
Think about how different this game looks from the other Star Wars games that we've been a part of and seen and all that. Like, this kind of struggle for the Force with all of your best guys on it, we would never have seen this.
And here, my friend, is the card that I think has taken the light side
Really
way
sealed
over
it.
the top.
Yeah.
And that is Hired Hands.
You know, a lot of times it's these kind of undercover cards that are really doing it. You look at the flashy cards like Vader and the Marauder and Yoda and all that, and it's like, yeah, these are good cards. But something like Hired Hands or on the Netrunner side, any PD contract, like there's a lot of these kind of nondescript things just float in, and it's like these are in every deck, and they turn out to be really the thing that's tipping the scales so dramatically.
Yeah, you know, Gamora Run helping you win the Force, really not that huge of a thing. Like, it's good, but it's not game-ending. Marauders helping you win the Force and get dudes back, great. Hired Hands are ridiculous.
Yep.
It's this very situation. You pay 1 for a dude. You attack. If you don't block, I'm going to do 2 damage and a tactics. If you do block, I can still win the edge battle, do my damage, and a tactics. So, super strong.
Woohoo. Now, it's important to note that John is out of protectors at this point.
He is.
So Hired Hands, still, man, it takes a lot of juice to get those Hired Hands off the board for a 1-cost unit that you want to just remove with the Force anyway.
Now, here's what Matt wants.
Difficult.
He's got a Seeds of Decay. So, he really wants to Seeds Yoda and lock down that Force. He's going to drop a Twist here. They're both going to... Looks like John's passing. I would be surprised if Matt put more cards in.
Given that he twisted, huh? Oh, is that a double twist?
That was a protection. So he could have put a shield on something, which would have been a Yoda to protect against Seeds.
There it is. Well, that was a good play. Pass, he is going to get the Seeds then, huh?
Maybe. So at this point,
He's auto-winning, so maybe
Matt
don't waste it.
plays the Seeds, then John could come back with something.
Yeah.
Which could be any number of things. So he's not going to play it.
Just take the sure thing, yeah.
He's going to do a damage to the Liaison, which is going to get protected. 1 to the objective. And then that Hired Hands is going to go out the window.
And, you know?
But for 1.
Yeah, for 1. We were really impressed with Hired Hands in our unboxing, I remember, as well, too.
Okay,
it's just
dude.
kind of, you look at that unit and the numbers, it's a pretty simple math problem to see how they're great.
Yeah, I would literally pay 1 if I knew that he was going to get sacrificed at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
Like, I would still play that guy.
And it's hard to make those units that are disposable and good. It's hard to find that balance. Hired Hands definitely on the other end of that scale, I think. And triggering the old Forcey Warsey.
Now, that is a card John does not want. We've already seen both Yodas. That card's going to do nothing for you.
And the balance is going to stay with Matt.
That's big. Now, John does have 2 resources open here. So,
There could be shenanigans, what you're saying.
there could be. And I'm not saying there are, but it smells like a Leia's command. Have you seen that in his hand yet?
I haven't. I haven't been looking, though. I've been freaking out here because I really, honestly, for the first time, this is the best looking Star Wars game that I've ever seen.
There's
this is
play
kind of
happening.
This is kind of what you want whenever you get into this game. And I think the design may have finally dragged it there.
Yeah, I really like... this is a pretty... I don't know. It's a good example of what the game definitely could be. Where I feel like both decks have kind of hit their stride, and they're both doing things. we've got damage on the board, we've got units on the board, and they're kind of struggling to see who can get out on top.
Yeah, there's plays happening. It's not just that, like, Star Wars oftentimes in the past has fallen into that, you have one or two big plays, and that's determines the game. And this is a very consistent, sustained, tempo-driven game. Players going through their decks, they're getting card draw on their opponent's turns. They're struggling for the force. They're struggling for unit damage. They're struggling for objective damage. It's really excellent play and excellent decks, and I think this is a good sign for this game. And Matt's been there through it all.
He has indeed. So has John. Interesting moment in the game here. Still has that Vader. That's crazy.
That Vader's been doing work.
No, the Vader in his hand.
Oh, yeah, true.
Like 4 turns
that
later.
That hasn't been doing work, but it's doing theoretical work.
Oh, it looks like he passed conflict, and we do have a Leia's command. Boom. It's going to blow up an objective. All unfocused units and objective takes damage.
Wow, that's massive.
So 2 objective damage, and he's got a liaison and an advisor out, which both have 1 health.
Better than John could have even asked for there.
That's so extremely good. That is money.
This could be a tipping point here. Leia's command could have completely sprung this game.
Wow. So he's going to take 1 on the protector. He can protect 1 damage, so he can save 1 of those units, but the other one's gone for sure. Leia's command doing work. And that's going to really make some interesting things this next play. I'm assuming this is going to be John's opportunity to get some attacks in. It would be sick if he had another Leia's command.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that looks like a face that may have 2 Leia's commands, honestly.
That would probably just be game.
I mean, he held 2. He's got C-3PO. It's super safe. Just in case there's some random Imperial suppression there. Which there wouldn't be.
Unless you're playing someone crazy.
I mean, if he does have another one, he probably waits until we flip a new objective, yeah?
Well, it's at the end of...
it's only at the end?
Of conflict. At the end of your opponent's conflict.
That's probably good. Otherwise, that might be a little too much.
If it was any phase, that'd be wild. Oh, you going into refresh or draw and everything's on focus? Sweet. Orbital bombardment, that could be a thing. That could make things happen.
Matt could have a push turn. All right, John, now looking a little bit better. Has some breathing room.
Yeah, well, the main thing is, like, Vader there's no more protectors out, right? So Luke all of a sudden can just kill Vader because he's got the lightsaber. A lot of things can happen here. Hired Hands kills most units on the board. Like, there's just some interesting interactions that are going to happen on this turn.
I guess that's why you hire him.
LOL.
Oh, goodness.
Ewok,
hello.
I actually like the Ewok here. Protector.
Hey, another
I
protector.
think that's the number 4. We saw one get pitched earlier from
I've heard
Gamora.
they're good.
Yeah, it's like controlling where your opponent puts their damage matters. It does.
Spoiler alert.
Hashtag spoiler. All right, let's see what else he's got. Protector is so big right there, by the way. I can't tell you how important a protector is.
I'd like for you to try.
Look at how thin these decks are, by the way. John's deck particularly.
How many hard hands we got? How many?
That's number 3 so
How
far.
many?
There's 4 in the deck. I have an idea. Let's put 2 in that objective set.
Man, this is just a well-oiled deck. I've not seen anything like this in a very long time. Just a loyalist, just a little extra.
I dig it. That tactics could be a very powerful engine here.
Now the issue here, and this is kind of classic Star Wars theory, John doesn't have much to win an edge battle with. Just played it all on the board.
But does he need it?
Does he? That is a better question, maybe. With a protector, it kind of takes the struggle off of the edge battle. Shielding also doing a good job. Being able to swing in with that Ewok, prevent a focus.
Yeah, and honestly, at some point, you got to be willing to risk some dudes. So Matt doesn't have too much to block with. Oh, man. I think he's going for the gusto right here. That front row is attacking Council, I believe.
Wow.
He's got 4 black objective damage
Zach,
there.
where did this come from? What's going on here?
I think he's ready to rock and roll,
I mean,
baby.
this is wild. I rarely see this kind of a climax climactic attack.
I mean, the thing about this is he's got May the Force be with you, so
It's not that risky then, is it?
he can't get Yoda back, and Luke's gonna unfocus at the start of the turn, assuming he's alive.
Yeah.
So, at some point, you just go for it.
Let's go get it.
Shield play is super interesting to me because of the number of weird positions you can put your opponent in with protect and shields out.
Yeah.
So I love this. Yoda's got all black icons. He's got 5 or 6 unit damage at this point. I mean, what do you want to block with here? He can almost blow up the executive with Yoda.
He's got C-3PO for any kind of shenanigans that come up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some Seeds of Decay stuff, but the shield really stops
shield
it.
Seals it.
It's really nice.
And that's what, when you look at his icons, he doesn't really need... He has 3 black objective damage here. So if he can get it unopposed, he can guarantee, after killing stuff, because he's got so much unit damage, he can pretty much blow up that objective unless Matt is just capable of stopping it somehow. Best thing you can do here probably is block him with the advisor to tactics down the hired hands, which stops the tactics and the damage.
Man, that assault was just a tipping point, it seems like. That really... Being able to slide into Leia's command, being able to slide into this position now, following that. A lot of times you can do nice things, but being able to capitalize on them after you've done them is a skill. When to play it, when can I make the most advantage of this? And John's got this in spades right here. I think man on the defensive.
Yeah, and it shows you last turn where John kind of just passed the opportunity to make a play and was willing to sit on it and wait and see if he had a better chance on the next round, and he does. He certainly does.
I'm going to go out there and say that this is the best game of Star Wars I've ever seen.
It's pretty dang good.
Matt having to really consider this one. It's such a rare attack, really, that you see this kind of commitment. So you got to handle it. You got to figure out how to handle it.
Again, though, with Luke and Yoda both effectively having 5 health at any given time because of the protector
And shields.
And black icons, you don't really need too much to happen here. John can lose the edge battle and he'll lose people if Matt blocks with enough things. But what does Matt lose?
I mean, Yoda's got 20 damage on him?
He's got I think it was at 6. So that's a thing. He may be higher than that.
Yeah, a lot of damage there.
Also, lightsaber deflection is a baller card. I'm just putting that out there. I don't know if he has it or not.
It'd be pretty cool to unfocus a resource with a shield and lay it out there. Feels like a good play. That's a Jedi one, right? Jedi only? You have to use Jedi resource?
No, it's a 0 cost.
Oh, yeah?
Deflection?
Yeah, I thought it was 1.
No, it's 0. Prevented damage, do it to someone else.
Dang.
It's so good. Comes Secret EM4 with 2 protectors, C-3PO, and a twist.
It's on the board there.
Yeah. That object set's so good, by the way.
Great position here, John. This is really, I feel like this is probably the moment, if ever there was one.
Yeah, and all this time that Matt's kind of making a decision on how he wants to block, John's already committed to the attack. So he's in on that. He's doing this attack, and sometimes you sit there for long enough as the person you just attacked, and then you're like, wait a second.
I shouldn't do this.
I shouldn't do it. What's going on? What have I done?
And you go through all those scenarios in your head, and then you're like, oh, no, wait, no, it's fine, it's fine. This is why I did it. This is fine.
Yep.
And then sometimes you don't go through that, and you say, oh, my gosh, I've made a drastic mistake.
Are we going unopposed here?
That looks very unopposed.
Okay, so he was going at the bottom objective. I thought he was going at council there. He's certainly going to destroy that objective, and then he's going to do a load of damage here. So Vader's going to die a target strike on Luke, which Matt's ultimately okay with because he's got another Vader in hand. We're going to get tactics for days. That executor needs to go, in my opinion.
Tactics on Marty. Tactics on Advisor.
Yeah, they should focus twice there. Just throwing that out there.
We'll see if he does, Zach.
Man, that is an interesting play. I feel obligated to double tactics the executor there. I guess Marty could remove it. Never mind.
Yeah.
Scratch.
Monty makes it a little different.
So now he's just winning the force struggle and getting a dude back. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, got the double focus on Yoda. Well read. Got a lightsaber. And that's going to give it to him, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're going to get a nudge back in here?
I don't know.
Hired hands?
I'm not sure. Can you use it to unfocus the hired hands? Not bad. Get the lightsaber, and we'll see who he gets back.
Man, look at that synergy. That's just really what it's all about.
Nudge would not be a bad play. Get an Ewok.
At this point, I mean, how many force chokes does Matt run through? 2? 3?
I think we've seen 2. But he does have C-3PO and a Protector out.
He's got the 3PO. Little does John know that Vader's probably on the way back out. Although, Matt really not ready to take on the resource advantage that John has here, ultimately.
Yeah.
Not from characters either. This is straight from just a bunch of locations.
Yeah, and Matt's in that precarious situation where he's going to want to play things, but John's got a strong board, and the more things you play, the less cards you have in hand for the edge battle. So we'll see how it goes.
That was a huge swing. Just a huge swing there.
Yep, Luke's unfocused as well, so he has that to block with. I don't think Matt's going to be attacking anytime soon. See what he gets. Plan of the Prophetess. And looks like Fall of the Jedi.
It's going to help get the cards that Matt needs if he needs certain ones. I assume that he does.
Yeah, and this is where you're dark side and you're literally just trying to get across that finish line.
Yeah, you got one left. And plenty of objective damage on the table.
Hey, Sith Holocron's not going to be bad.
Probably more on the way.
2-cost Vader is never horrible. Tell you what, C-3PO is doing some damage control here. When you know they can't just snipe you with some of those cards,
incredible.
Life gets better.
I mean, I feel like Sith swings the game a lot with those big event drops. And recurring C-3PO is just a great little tool to prevent that. Put him back together, boys.
Put him back.
He's got to stand in the way of something else. It's like, oh, you needed that Force Lightning? Eat it, 3PO.
Gotcha.
Put him back together.
Picture C-3PO getting lightning. It's hilarious.
Or Force choked.
Even better.
Ooh, my circuits.
Hey, just so we're aware, according to some people, Darth Vader made C-3PO. So that'd be even funnier.
Really?
I mean, Anakin did, technically.
Yeah.
If you've ever heard of the prequels. I don't know what all that stuff's about.
3, 4, and 5, Zach. Well, not 3, 4, and 5. 4, 5, and 6, Zach.
3 is the most acceptable.
I haven't seen it.
That's good. Don't worry about it. You ultimately know what happens.
I was too depressed. 1 and 2 are just...
I'm out of here.
They punched me in the stomach. I wasn't ready to be disappointed again. 7, though, I have high hopes. I have high hopes for this next run.
I also have high hopes for the 7.
Crazy that we get more Star Wars movies in our time. That is just bananas.
My mind,
and a lot more.
My mind, yeah, it's going to be...
We're going to get to explore this universe, let me tell you.
I love how we got to this. I could be on this for hours, so I'm gonna exit this part of the conversation.
Well, that's fine. I mean, we got plenty of thinking time by these players.
Okay, well, let's do it.
This is Nationals. Practical effects. I mean, the whole thing.
I'm excited for things from like Episode 7 of Star Wars Rebels and the new books to start showing up in these games.
Because they're real at that point, you know? It's not like, this is kind of expanded universe stuff. It's like, no, this is canon.
No. Old Luke is a card.
Old Luke.
Old Han is the best. I hope he has like a broken foot.
Man, old Han. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I guess we will.
We will see it. Time.
Talk about FFG being in the right place at the right time.
Talk about a lot of people being in the right place at the right time.
Baby. Some new ships, maybe? New starfighters?
X-Wing's going to get good.
Don't get me started.
Did you see the new X-Wing they showed a picture of?
Oh, yeah.
Sick, dude.
Yeah.
It's like a headhunter and an X-Wing had a new baby.
A future baby.
It's a shiny future baby.
I'd like to have a shiny future baby with this light side board.
It'd be a big baby.
It would. Nothing wrong with that.
So
Luke,
go ahead.
So can we just go ahead and just accept that in the last turn of the game we had Luke killing his father, Darth Vader?
It is accepted.
Feels like theme, doesn't it? It feels strong. The game is accomplishing very thematic moments, if you pay attention. Pretty impressive.
I'll tell you what I like.
Except when, hired hands,
It exists.
kill the...
I guess the Stormtrooper.
Makes
That's
sense.
cool. I'm cool with that. Now, I'll tell you what
hate.
I really do actually like a lot about the moment of this in this game, at large, not this particular game we're watching, but in Star Wars, and that is the number of core set objective sets that are at the table.
Yep. We see this in the newer Fantasy Flight releases, right? We've seen this in Game of Thrones. We are not Game of Thrones.
I was gonna say we've specifically not seen it in Game of Thrones.
That's the exception. We've seen it in Star Wars. We've seen it in Netrunner, Lord of the Rings to some extent, but not quite as much. And I'm curious if Conquest is going to be similar. Are we going to be seeing these same cards over and over?
That's the route from which all the rest of the game stems.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I think that's really quite a tribute to new players that you have a product that's going to last you a very long time, that you can pick up a core set and start playing, really. Get 80% of your deck there. And
yeah, I think in the long run, it's certainly something that you want because, a game like Thrones gets older, and where does a new player start? And they start with a starter. And if a starter gets you 50, 60% of what's showing up in, the top decks.
Yeah, it's way different.
That's absolutely what you want. And you definitely want the cards that continue to come out to have places and to allow more interesting things and to kind of mix things up, and you can pick and choose what you want to do. But not having to buy 20 packs to get all the stuff you need to play competitively is really nice. So I'm glad to see that, and I hope that continues with Star Wars and Netrunner and all the games they continue to put out.
Yeah, and I think what accomplishes this that FFG is moving towards now is really honing in on a theme per cycle. Right, so that I can buy my core set and then be okay, I want to play Hoth, or I want to play, Bad Publicity in Netrunner, whatever. I can just go get that cycle and have 95% of my deck. It may not be 100% efficient, but it's going to be a tournament level deck that I can take to a casual.
A starter and a cycle get you kind of on your way.
Yeah. So I'm glad to see a lot of progress, kind of in the strategy of the releases and how best to take care of players.
Yeah, and I will say with the Star Wars in particular, the objective set system makes that idea a little more difficult to pull off. When you put out a cycle like Hoth that kind of has to play with itself.
Yes.
You really start to feel the restriction if it's your first cycle. So now that Balance or the Echoes of the Force cycle's out, things have definitely evened out quite a bit more. But I am glad to see them continue to release Hoth objectives.
Star Wars is just such a different game. It's just it's actually remarkably different.
It is remarkably different.
When you first approach it and you're this is kind of cute and different. But the game is remarkably different. It's unlike any card game, and I think that's what took a lot of players by surprise when they first said it, myself included, and all of us really. You took to it really quickly after you kind of saw that, but I was just what?
What is going on?
It's this is just a normal card game with objectives, and then I was this is crazy. Just the flow and the experience of this game is... the board control considerations are different. The card draw considerations are so different.
I would certainly say
deck building is different.
The flow of the game is dramatically important.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
The back and forth and the when you commit what units to which engagements and so on. It is a dramatically different game than any card game I've ever played.
Yeah.
Even though both players have decks and hands, and you put a deck together and you have there's similar concepts to a card game, but ultimately being good at this game takes a very different mindset.
And I think what's being played with is, we've seen for so long the genre of card game that is, you're trying to play resources and play out things that you then use to win the game on the board. And we're seeing it kind of, Star Wars especially, shifts away from that completely, where the quantity of things you have do not necessarily dictate your ability to win a game.
Yeah.
The resources you have out may not actually be that great. They may be really poor because you draw them later in the game, or they just aren't doing enough.
It benefits resource advantage. You want it, but that alone does not dictate the win.
Yeah, you can't win it with it because you can't draw 20,000 cards and play them all at once.
Yeah.
So it really creates a much different play environment.
Well, and when a unit can go in, do damage, and then just die, but
yeah.
still do what it was doing, which is blow up an objective and advance the dial or get the light side closer to winning. You don't need, you need a certain amount of resources to effectively win the game. But you can win a game. Like, if John's board over here on the right was clear, he could still win this game.
Yep.
All right, he's going to sacrifice. There's the deflection, baby. He sacrifices Holocron to reduce by 3, triggering Executor. But John's going to block it with deflection. Deflection, a lot of people think it says character.
Massive.
But it's just unit, so you can block the damage to C-3PO.
That is massive.
Yeah. So he's going to play Vader for 2. Now,
oh my gosh.
It's interesting because he saved C-3PO there, right? But Matt has no Sith events in his hand. So the only way that really does become... He's removing the shield there to get the resource open on the Ewok resource. I don't know what it's called.
Yep. Saving another Leia's command? Is that what we're hinting at here?
That'd be brutality. He's at least threatening it.
Mm-hmm.
And once you see him spend the resources and not have a tactics, you're okay with dropping that shield as well. Looks like he's going to commit. Lock down the force here. You have to get rid of those hired hands. If you lose this edge battle, he keeps the hired hands and he gets another one. You cannot do that. So
yeah, there they go.
Yep, solid play by Matt. He's going to draw a card from Council. Never missing that trigger. Sign of a really good player. Oh, Palpatine.
Finally. I'll bet Matt's been looking for him forever. After that Holocron bump, too. Now, if Palpatine is in Vader's spot here, how significantly does that change this game? If at all.
I think it does. I mean, Palpatine can block. Assuming you win an edge battle, he's going to get a tactics things down. That's going to slow the game way down. But John does just need one objective here. So he's got a lot of shields. He can kind of go all in on the Council there with 1 damage on it. But Palpatine definitely, earlier in the game, would have been significant. But at the same time, I mean, Matt held on to Vader and Seeds for several turns, just letting them sit there in his hand. So that is the difference.
Exactly digging,
that is the difference, that if you can just keep dumping cards. And that's part of the turn where John just sat back and didn't attack.
Another lightsaber on,
that's sweet.
On Luke.
So that's
and another hired hands.
3 black objective damage on Luke. But the turn where you sit back, another interesting element of this game that gets talked about a lot and should.
Another Leia.
Is not attacking also doesn't give your opponent a chance to block and discard cards.
Yeah. All right, so now John is in the... I certainly don't envy his spot. I know that he's got the ability to do this, and now you're just looking at it, and you just don't want to make any kind of blunders here.
Yeah, honestly, I think you go all in with the front row. You shield Luke and Yoda.
Yeah.
And that's
just an old school light side beatdown here.
It's just what you do. It's going to make Seeds not really matter that much. If John can win the edge battle, he's going to be in a phenomenal position to just win.
This is without a doubt the greatest game of Star Wars that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's really good. It's high-level play on both sides. It's obviously very well-constructed decks on both sides. They're both doing what they do. They know how to do it. And it's been back and forth, so we'll see if John can seal it here.
Matt's going to have a time looking at this one. We got the edge battle kicked off. John's
One card
on the pass there.
That's classic. So this is one of two things. This is twist.
Yep.
Or this is a card John thinks he can win by itself.
Maybe a 3. Yeah, 3 or 4.
And that is what's terrifying about the one card pass, because Matt puts in a 1. So if he just passes and John has a 2, John wins the edge battle.
He's checking on the discard pile. So this is interesting, right? So we've seen 2 Leias at this point. We've seen 2 Lukes. We've seen 2 Yodas. We've seen 2 Hyperspace Marauders. I wonder if there's even anything left in the deck that could be 3. I'm gonna wager that no, that there is not a 3 Force Icon card left in this deck.
I'm thinking. Thinking.
Matt may be seeing if he even has the twist available.
So Matt put another card in.
John passes
John's
again.
passing.
Now, is twist in these objective sets?
Yes. Secret Heaven 4 has twist. We know that. And it's a 0.
It's nothing.
All right, Seeds. Seeds is going to make this interesting. He's going to siege Yoda. Yoda's going to shield it. But the thing is, and this is where Palpatine would have made a humongous difference.
Oh, man. Unbelievable, yeah.
So he's still got black objective damage for days. And he's got that black tactics with Leia, which we want to get rid of. But You have protect. Like, this is just a tough spot to be in.
And we still have to make the decision of who to swing with first. Tough.
Yeah, I honestly don't think that Matt has a way out here. 3 Yoda. He's going to protect one of them.
2 cards in hand. With the C-3PO on the board makes this very, very safe.
So he's going to protect... No? Yeah, protect 1. Don't protect 2. Crazy man.
Sometimes it's hard, you know, with Yoda. And looking for actions before any other things go down. I think you just start to push this black damage through as hard as you can.
Yeah, I think you definitely strike with Yoda, do all the unit damage, objective damage, and a tactics. And then from there... I mean, you could also strike with Luke.
You could do Luke here.
Go ahead and get 3 on the objective. He's got 3 black objective damage. So he's doing 4 damage to Vader.
Yeah, and again, objective. So Luke has killed Vader twice this game.
Yeah.
Or defeated, I should say.
Send him to the pile.
Yeah, send him running away.
Yeah, and this is, I just don't think there's anything Matt can do.
There
it is.
All right,
so John gets round 1 as the light side, not unexpected, but he had to fight for it.
I'm really excited now because we get to see another game of this caliber. So stick with us, guys. We'll have more for you. And if you enjoyed this, then we do have a way to support us directly via YouTube. It's in the top left corner of this video called Fan Funding. So check that out if you're interested. We'll catch you on Game 2 from GenCon 2014.